Welcome to another episode of Sunny Sails and Tales. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest episode on my YouTube channel, The Sunny Sailor, and we're going to be talking about the behind the scenes of Dominica. Dominica is a beautiful island in the Eastern Caribbean. It is pretty much an untouched island. There isn't a lot of resorts and there isn't a lot of commercialization. There's not a lot of commercialization. That word, yeah, there's not a lot of that there. I'm going to tell you about the wonderful things that you can do in Dominica. It is pretty freaking incredible there. First of all, the episodes that I am coordinating, my podcast, is episode number 127 and 128. 128 is not out yet, but it's coming your way. 127 and 128 are all about Dominica, all about the experiences and the beautiful things that I saw while I was there, in case you want to go. So the purpose of this particular genre of podcast is to tell you what kind of things there are to do in Dominica and how you go about doing them. Let's get started. Welcome to Sunny Sails and Tales. I'm the Sunny Sailor, bringing you the latest podcast from the Caribbean. Let's start with sailing into Dominica. You can fly into Dominica, but sailing into Dominica is the way that I came in. So I sailed into the port that's on the north, which is Portsmouth. And Portsmouth is one of the primary towns. Rousseau is also a town in the south that a lot of cruisers go to. There's this organization called PAYS. It's an acronym for something. I'm not sure what it is. But that organization is a group of people, men and women, who live in Dominica, and their jobs are to help support cruisers. They help us tie up to mooring balls. They accept payment for mooring balls. They provide water, fuel, anything that you might need. That's their jobs. And the reason why it's a PAYS organization is because it is controlled and making sure that all of the people who are in that tourism line of work all get work. So it's not just a few who have favorites get work. They spread it out, and I think that's a good thing. So when you sail into Portsmouth, expect that some guy or girl on a fishing boat is going to come up and offer to tie you up and offer you a lot of amenities. They're probably going to encourage you to do tours and to use them for tours. I have my favorites. They are all pretty good, but I am partial to giving women business. So Quiche, Kish, is my go-to when I go to Dominica. She's got a good reputation, she's funny, she's smart, and she is having a tough time competing in the man's world, but she's doing a damn good job. So let's talk about Dominica. Dominica, I call it one of the last untouched beauties. It really is. There are 365 rivers. There are 12 waterfalls, and there are 9 active volcanoes. So you can imagine that it is a very lush and vibrant and rainforest kind of island. You don't get that everywhere. Some islands are sand and palm trees and not a lot grows on them. Take most of the Bahamas. But when you go to an island like Dominica, it's always exciting to see things growing, and the produce that you're buying actually comes from that island. That's another great point about Dominica. It has the best produce. It has so many tropical plants, and you can buy your produce almost everywhere, and it's picked that day. Amazing. And they have incredible weed if you're interested in that. When it comes to taking tours in Dominica, this is my advice to you. There's a northern port and a southern port. When you go to take your tour, make sure that the waterfalls or pools or events or extreme Dominicas or swimming with whales, whatever you're going to do, make sure that they are operating close to the port that you're in. Otherwise, learn this the hard way. you end up getting in a van. It's not even a bus. You end up getting in a van, and the van operates broken seats. I mean, let me just say, never throw anything away. So these buses or vans have not the most comfortable seats. It's kind of a rough ride. And if you're going to travel 2 hours in one of these vans, you're going to want to not have to travel 2 hours in one of these vans. That's a fact. It's grueling on your body. Learn that the hard way. Say, for instance, they have the Indian River. Indian River is this beautiful freshwater river that you can boat through, but no motors are allowed. So when you're going down the Indian River, you have a guide and he paddles you. It's beautiful. It's cool. You're in the rainforest, and they still have left up the buildings from the original Pirates of the Caribbean. Kind of falling down a little bit, but you get the idea. You can't walk around them or step into them, but you can actually take pictures of them if you're a Pirates of the Caribbean fan. And then as you meander down through the Indian River, you end up at a bush bar. You can drink rum, and the river just kind of ends. It doesn't go very far. And you can walk around, and they tell you about different medicinal plants and produce, and it's worth it. It's worth to take that trip. But sometimes the tour guides will say, we'll do the Indian River and then we'll do Trafalgar Falls. Well, there's 2 hours away. Don't do that. That's my advice. Make your tour guide do the things that are on the north side of the island when you're on the north side of the island. Trust me, if you take that advice, you're going to appreciate it. So Portsmouth, when we anchored in Portsmouth, we went to organic farm. I didn't really think I would be interested in that very much, but it actually was fascinating. This young couple, I think they're from California, have started this organic farm, and you can get produce and things that are there, but they really have a cool story, and so it's worth going to see it. Along that same route, you go to I think it's called Blackbeard. They have goats. I love goats. Yeah, anytime I can go to a farm, I'm happy. And you can get this homemade organic cheeses and things like that. Also worth the stop off there to go see Blackbeard's farm. Then, also on the north, let's see, what's the name of that? That is called the Boisnef Falls. Bwenef is how you spell it. And those falls are beautiful. They're easy access. You don't have to walk very far, maybe 10 minutes. You don't have to scramble up the side of a mountain. And you can also get in the pool, and it's very refreshing and cool water. Also in the north, there's several waterfalls. Remember, what's the number? 12. When you go to on the north side of the island, you can go to several different waterfalls. There's also Red Rock. So let me get my information on Red Rock. So the Red Rock is east of Calabishi, and one of the volcanoes erupted and was primarily rich in basalt, B-A-S-A-L-T, basalt. And as the lava flowed and cooled as it reached the Caribbean Sea, it kind of turned gray. It was like a grayish, smooth rock formation. Well, over time and over the years, because it also was very rich in iron, it has turned orange. So when you go to Red Rock, it's you're walking on hardened lava, but it's red and it's stunning to look at. You can see how the lava actually flowed down the volcano and into the water as it cooled. It's stunning. You can get lunch up there. You can bring a picnic. It's quite worth putting that in one of your northern inn tours. Oh, and when you're on it, it's like you're on another planet, because Dominica is so rich with fruit trees and palm trees and thick rainforest vegetation that it's almost like you go into a different world when you step on and you walk around on Red Rock. It's quite a contrast and interesting, very interesting. Also coming out of Portsmouth, I was able to swim with whales. Somehow through Quiche, I was able to get the phone number of Andrew, the whale whisperer. He is grown up in Dominica, and he has this unique relationship with whales. Like, they know him, they respond to him. He if he's is in the water and he spins in a circle, they do the same thing, spin in a circle. You can see that if you watch my YouTube video. It's pretty fascinating. And I kept badgering him about going to swim with the whales. And I probably asked him about it at least once a day, to the point that he could have been getting annoyed, but I tried to be smiling and happy and excited. And he wanted to have, it's very pricey to go swim with whales, and he wanted to have at least, 5 people. Well, because it's pricey, I had trouble getting 5 people. Eddie didn't go, and I said, I'm going to go no matter what. And in the course of having communication with Andrew, at one point he said, okay, we can go on Tuesday. And so I got very excited and said, oh, I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to seeing you, and I can't wait. Well, I think he interpreted that in a different way than which it was intended. Because then he proceeded to ask me on a date and say, when we go out to dinner, and I was like, whoa. At the time, I was still married. I was like, I think you misunderstood me. But because of my personality, I'm not going to let it be awkward. So as soon as I get on the boat, I say, hey, Andrew, it's your girlfriend. Remember you're trying to date me? And I already told him I was married. And he said, yeah. He said, I'm sorry. He said, I think I had too much rum. But in the whale trip, we laughed and laughed and laughed. And in fact, one of the other whale guides, he was a young guy, and he said, well, if you are her Wednesday boyfriend, I'm going to be her Tuesday boyfriend, because there's not going to be anything left for her on Wednesday. So that became the running joke the whole entire time that we were there. So get on the boat. Andrew gives us the procedure. He has this great listening device. He knows the sound of the whales. He could tell if it was female pods. They have books with all the pods and tail. Apparently all the tails are different. And based on the shape of the tail, they can tell what whale it is, and they've named them all. They know how many females are in the pods. The males are never with the females, but the females have the young calves. And Andrew knows all this, so he hears, and then he says, take the boat, go north, and then we travel in that direction, and then at some point we see the whales, and then we dive in the water. So the first time I dove in the water as I'm swimming, even though the water is very clear, I couldn't really see the whale until it's right in front of my face. And the way that they would look in your eyes, it was, I can't even explain it. It was incredible. Really, really incredible. They have just these soulful eyes, and you see them, and they were looking you right in the eye as they swim past you. The first jump, I began to cry. I was overwhelmed with how beautiful it was. And then we did another jump, and by the time I think it was the last jump of the day, I got the hang of it. I knew what happened. We get in the water, we turn around, the guide would look up at Andrew, he would point in a direction, and that's the way we would swim. Well, I figured it out. I was the first one in the water. I look up, I see Andrew, and I take off. And I'm swimming faster and ahead of everyone else. And I see these 3 whales, and I began to flip my hand, like I read somewhere that they like. And sure enough, the whales turned to me and passed on either side of me, so close that my GoPro couldn't even film it. It was an incredible, incredible moment in my life to have these beautiful wild animals being so close to me. Very emotional, very worth every penny that I paid. And no, I didn't end up having a Tuesday boyfriend or a Wednesday boyfriend. The other tours that we went to Syndicate Falls, and Milton Falls. You can get in the water there. There are other falls. Let's see, I have a big list of falls. There are Chardier, There's Emerald Pool. There's Syndicate Falls. And then in the south, there's the Emerald Pool. There's Spanning Falls. I'm not even going to list them all. There's a lot. There's a lot. Some of them are like a 2-hour hike to be able to get to the falls. And some of them you basically just walk a few minutes from the car ride. Depending on what your energy level is. You can decide which falls you can go to. Which falls are your type of falls. Down in Rousseau, when you're down in that part, out of that bay, I did Extreme Dominica, which was so much fun. It was rappelling. It was jumping off of cliffs into water. It was a constant moving, jumping, rappelling, climbing down, 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 down. So I told Eddie I was going to do it. I said, I'm going to do this Extreme Dominica. You can go with me or without me. I don't care, because it's what I want to do. When I made the appointment, I asked them, how long is the walk? Because Eddie did not want to hike, and he didn't want a lot of exercise. And they said, oh, it's like maybe 10 minutes from the car. And we're like, oh. I said, Eddie, it's only 10 minutes from the car. So he was, he was fully okay with it. So we do this first rappel down, and then you drop into the water. It's like 20 feet, and then some of them were just jumping off the cliff, and some of them were climbing, and then you're wading through the rocks till you get to the next part where you're going down. Didn't really think about the fact you're going down, 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 down. So you end at the T2 Gorge, or the T2 Cathedral, and you're in this massive, beautiful rock formation. Beautiful, beautiful. And the guides were so encouraging, and there were some times that there was a little hesitation, like, am I going to jump off of that? And they always made you feel like you could do it, and we did it. At the end of this 30-minute rappelling and climbing and jumping into pools, then we had to go back to the car. So I didn't actually ask how long was the walk after the end of the Extreme Dominica. And that meant a 30-minute walk uphill to get back to the car. Eddie wasn't happy about that. So you can write that one down, but boy, was it fun. It was just a blast. I would say, yeah, do it. Do it. It was so fun. Also, out of the southern bays, they have Trafalgar Falls is down there, which is one of the biggest falls. It's really beautiful. There's also champagne bubbles. So you kind of swim out. To me, it's very tourist driven. Like, I didn't want to stay with the guides, because I want to just swim, and I'm a strong swimmer. But you swim, and there's bubbles that come out of the rocks in the water, and it looks like champagne bubbles, and that's why they call it Champagne Reef. And the bubbles come from the gases that are coming out of the still active volcanoes. I would rate that about a 5. I didn't think it was great, but it certainly was interesting for maybe you are taking a cruise ship, and it would be a cruise ship type of excursion. If you live on a boat and you're always in the water, maybe not so much. Oh, and there's also the elusive Dominican parrot. We searched every bit and never saw this parrot. But apparently it's out there. The Dominican parrot. It's very rare. Obviously so rare that we could never find it. But as you take in these tours, you're supposed to be looking for it. Wait. No, I didn't see it. In my opinion, the snorkeling in Dominica was not great. I believe that Dominica has sold its fishing rights probably to some foreign country, because you can't overfish an island or the water around an island with taking just the food for the people that live on the island or visit the island. For you to be overfished, it has to be shipped off and going to other countries, and massive amounts of fish, because it's, it's not a very wealthy country. I think they've sold their rights, and unfortunately there isn't a lot of fish. So in my opinion, I never found any snorkeling. I took a walk from Portsmouth to the beach that was, Douglas Bay Beach. It was really pretty. It's a pretty sandy beach, and you can walk there. And lots of, restaurants, bars. Of course, you can drink there. But the snorkeling was not good. And then we took a bus ride to the next bay that was north of Portsmouth. And again, saw no fish. So I was very sad about the lack of fish that you could snorkel close to the island. Happy about the whales, sad about the lack of fish. The produce, top notch in Dominica, and the prices of it are incredible. It's probably the cheapest produce I have bought so far while traveling to Dominica. There are so many waterfalls, so many waterfalls. So if you are an outdoor enthusiast, if you like hiking, climbing, doing kind of extreme things, or if you just love being in the jungle and seeing that kind of environment, Dominica is the best for that. It is just the best. It's beautiful, untouched, raw beauty. And it has so very much to do and to keep you occupied that are land activities. And just visiting the waterfalls alone, or traveling the river, or just seeing the rainforest, it was good. It was good. Even though I had been to Dominica before, maybe stopping through, like you stop, maybe we checked in, maybe we didn't, stop for overnight, keep going. I don't know why, I guess I had a little resistance to Dominica. I didn't think it had a lot to offer. And boy, was I wrong. After hearing from other people how fantastic it was, I said, I've got to put this on this list. And then I requested that we stay for a while in Dominica so I could really see the things that other people had talked about. So we did, and it was well worth it. And I wish I'd spent more time in Dominica and less time in the French islands, even though they're beautiful and they have a lot to offer. That is my wrap-up of the beautiful country and island of Dominica. I hope you come back and listen to more of my podcasts. Some are going to be boat stuff and learning stuff and life on a boat and past experiences, and some will be coordinated with my videos out on YouTube. I'm going to try to get some podcasts for the past videos that I've put out already, at least for the country themselves, so I can kind of talk about it in case it's a place that you want to go to sometime. I mean, hopefully my podcast and my videos will inspire you to go to these places, either by plane or by boat, and maybe you can have an idea of how to get it started. If you need the number for Andrew, the whale whisperer, or my favorite tour guide, Quiche, or some of the other connections that I have in Dominica, drop me a line and I'm happy to spread that to you, because they need work and you could benefit from having a guide with good reviews, or the whale whisperer's number, and maybe you can try to be his girlfriend. Anyway, he was a very, very good sport about it, and I love that. Very professional, but let me laugh at the fact that he tried to date me, and I need to figure out how to communicate and not flirt. Well, I can't. Forget it. That's not who I am. Thanks for listening to Sunny Sails and Tales. I'm the Sunny Sailor, signing out from the Caribbean.